Yo, what it do, brothers? You are now tuning in all that R.A.R.A with your Hebrew brother, Milo Judah. What's going on, brothers? So, brothers, have you ever had a conversation with a brother who calls himself a quote-unquote street nigga, and you get his definition on what he calls a square? And a square to them is basically somebody who don't do the shit that they do, meaning they don't engage in degenerate activities, right? So, a man who is trying to become the best version of himself, or a teenage boy who is trying to become the best version of himself so he can become a man who is the best version of himself. A lot of dudes, a lot of so-called black men, a lot of so-called black males, I should say, would consider a young man like that to be a square because he has goals in life. He has things that he wants to accomplish. If he's playing sports, football, basketball, or baseball, and he's one of those young men who takes his craft seriously, he's always working out. He's always in the gym, right? He has his father in his life. His father is very hard on him about, becoming the best version of himself. You always see him working out. Like I believe Kevin Durant missed the prom. He missed his high school prom because he was working out, because he was that dedicated, right? So to a lot of quote-unquote street dudes, they would look at Kevin Durant when he was in high school as a square. But at the same time, when he's an adult and he's a multimillionaire 100 times over, those same dudes will look at his life story, or, he gets a little older and they may drop a documentary or a 30 for 30 or some shit like that. They'll look at his life story and say, damn, he put in that work. I should have did that. I could have made the NBA. No, because even if you were talented, a lot of times those street dudes, they believe that just their talent is enough to make it, right? They don't understand the hard work that goes into being an NBA player or NFL player or MLB player. It's not just about your talent, it's about the work that goes into it as well, all those hours that are spent. But what they would do is sit there and call an individual like that a square. And that goes into the mindset of a lot of so-called black men today as to why the so-called black man is where he is in this society, specifically the so-called black boy or the so-called black male who doesn't have any guidance or direction, and they are just out here living on a whim and living in the moment rather than, living for their future children, trying to do things today that's going to positively affect them down the line. They're just worried about how they look in the eyes of others and if they look like a square or not, which, of course, is completely counterproductive. But at the same time, with the so-called black man not being in the home the way he should be, then you're going to have that. But with that being said, we are going to listen to a so-called black man called the brother Channing Crowder a square. And basically going to say is because Channing Crowder played NFL football, so therefore he couldn't have done anything in the streets to, not be considered a square. So with that being said, brothers, let's get it. Let's do some analysis.
Square calling squares.
You don't know if Channing Crowder is a square.
What is a square? In a room full of square niggas? All you squares.
What I'm telling you is, how do you know he is square?
Look at that brother face. He looking like, man, don't ask me no dumb shit like that.
All y'all niggas is squares.
How do you figure that?
How not? What are you talking about?
You lost me.
Right. He lost me too. You can't make a judgment or make a claim without being able to substantiate it. If you are calling someone something and the person that you are with asks you, how are they this, and you can't answer it, or you answer it with a question, then that only makes it seem like, maybe you're jealous or you just have a dislike for this person without having a real reason. But for you to just double down on what you're saying without actually thoroughly explaining why you take this position, then you just sound like a hater. Yeah, you lost me too, bro.
Explain what's your definition of square?
Cause I'm a street nigga. I'm from the track.
How you know he not? Answering my question.
Because you can't have no felonies. You can't catch no charges.
To play football?
Yes.
So-called black man, this way of thinking is extremely detrimental So-called black man, this way of thinking is not beneficial at all. So-called black man, this train of thought, this logic that this brother has brought forth, that if you're not a street nigga, then you a lame. So-called black man, that's not the way to think. How many brothers have you known from elementary school to middle school to high school who were in environments that, weren't necessarily the best for them, and some of them didn't make it out of middle school, some of them didn't make it out of high school, there's some brothers who didn't make it out of elementary school. I'm pretty sure that if they still had the chance to live, they would be just fine with being called a square. Nobody wants to die as a teenager. Nobody wants to die in their 20s. Right? People want to actually live and see the fruits of life, see the fruits of their labor. Right? If I have to be a square to do that, then so be it. It's no badge of honor in being a street nigga, so-called black man. Now, if that's the environment that you came from because you had no choice, then that's understandable. But at the same time, once you are an adult, once you are a man, so-called black man, it is on you to self-correct. As a man, you can't keep blaming your past. As a man, you can't keep saying, this is how I grew up, this is how I am. No, so-called black man, you have to self-correct. If you have had a traumatic childhood, brothers, go seek therapy, go get you some help, talk to someone. But at the end of the day, it's no excuse for being a piece of shit person. And for so-called black men to always complain about how hard it is in this society and how we have to be 2 times as good, which I don't necessarily believe, but I understand where that comes from. For you to really think like this and for you to still, present yourself to the masses like this and get upset when other races, or for you brothers who are into the scriptures, other nations of people see us and they judge us harshly based off of the image that we present, the image that we put forth. You can't get mad. So-called black man, being a street nigga is not where it's at. And like I said, if that's the environment that you come from, if that's where you were raised, I mean, we all have had a time in the hood. But at the same time, once you become a man, you have to self-correct. You have to seek out resources that is going to benefit you, or that are going to benefit you as a man. You have to do that. You have to put in that self-work. You can't expect a woman that you are in a relationship with to do it. The only way to become the best version of yourself is to do it intentionally. Fuck being a street nigga.
Yes, it's certain shit you can't even do to be a football player. You gotta have damn near have a certain grade point average to even play college football. All these is squares.
It's my go. Tell me when you're gonna stop screaming.
Yeah, man. Stop all that damn screaming. And the crazy thing is, so-called black men like him and so-called black women, they glorify that lifestyle that he's speaking of. But the thing is, they'll get upset when so-called white people stereotype them and say, all so-called black people act like that. They'll get upset. He will be the first one to get upset. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. But at the same time, he's sitting here calling brothers who live a lifestyle that's not like that squares. So the mentality of a lot of so-called black males is ass backwards. And the thing is, a lot of so-called black males still love to play the victim role, still love to hang on to their victim mentality like a damn woman. But at the same time, the life that they perpetuate, the life that they glorify, the life that they bring forth as the life to live for the youth, they get upset when so-called white people stereotype them. But at this point, is it really a stereotype? Because, listen to the shit he's saying. Is it really a stereotype? And the crazy thing, he's sitting here doing all this yelling and being loud and boisterous and telling other grown men that they are squares if, they didn't live the life that he lived. What if you were sitting down in front of, You know, a guy who played high school football, right, and then transitioned into amateur boxing or something like that, right? Didn't live that type of life at all, but does understand that he can whoop your ass. And what if he felt like, okay, you're gonna have to show me that I'm a square, because it's one thing for you to call Channing Crowder a square, but for you to turn around and say all y'all niggas is squares because y'all podcast. Okay, well, show me I'm a square. So-called black man, you have to watch your mouth. That's the point, because you never know who you're sitting down in front of.
All these niggas, no, because I don't like that.
His response to when you gonna stop yelling was, no, because I don't like that. Like, brother, come on, man. Nigga sound like a straight hoe.
How is a square calling a nigga?
You don't know. He might be a square, but you don't know if he is or he's not.
I do.
You don't know that.
He
You
got
don't
time to podcast all day like the rest of you
He's
square ass
40-something years old.
So is the rest of us in here.
That's a problem, brothers. I don't know what it is about maturing and letting go of the past, but brothers have a major issue with getting older. The man said, we're 40 years old. He said, so is the rest of us in here. So, bro, you 40 years old or possibly older than 40 years old talking like this, saying NFL players are squares because they're not street niggas, and you are 40 years old. This man has no wisdom. Zero wisdom. And it's crazy because it's so much information out here. Information is copious. Information is ubiquitous. There's so many things you can look up. There's so many things you can do to advance your knowledge, right? To further your intelligence. But brothers rather be stuck on going on podcasts and stating that cats who didn't grow up in the streets are squares. Either you a street nigga or you a square. There's no in between. Like, who mans is this? Who father is this? Like, how you raising your son? If you have a son. It's crazy, man. But anyway, brothers, that's all that real and rare analysis. Brothers, watch what your sons are listening to. Watch what your daughters are listening to, because shit is hella toxic out here, man. Yo.